Hello Gatekeepers, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my first ever free birth experience with you all. My birth for my fourth born child, my second born son, honor Braveheart Cruz. Before we get into it, I wanted to say this because maybe you just stumbled upon this video or you're just watching because you're an awesome gatekeeper and you're subscribed and you're just watching my videos, or you possibly intentionally are looking for this exact information. And I know that nowadays, like free birth and unassisted home birth and wild pregnancy, it's not completely mainstream right now, but there is traction there, and it's becoming a bigger thing now. I want to be that voice of encouragement for you if you're here for that specific reason, and share with you some of my process and what I was going through when I was first preparing for my free birth. So I had previously had a home birth, but there was a midwife there and there was a nurse there. There was just like that it was like a comfort, like I had somebody there that I didn't need to fully be completely knowledgeable and know everything. So I'm like, man, if anything happens, like they got me kind of thing. So that's like a comfort thing, you know. And I'm coming from my first birth being a C-section, to then going to a birthing center and having my first unmedicated VBAC, to then having my first home birth. It was awesome. There was still some things about it that I was just like, So that's why when I got pregnant again, I'm like, babe, we're doing this. And at first he wasn't completely on board. I started consuming, like literally like consuming all of the resources that I could find. And any and every free birth, unassisted home birth resource there is available, I had it and I consumed it. I inhaled it. I made sure that I was informed and that I knew all that I needed to know, because this was a big decision, you know. And so after just maybe like a couple of weeks, my husband was on board and he's like, we got this, you're right. You know, like I was just sharing with him and all these different things. And he was just like, it took him literally a second for him to be on board. And he trusts me, you know, my husband trusts me so much, and he trusts, he just trusts me. There's no other way to put it. He trusts me. We trust each other. And we knew that, oh my gosh, look at my bun is like falling. And we knew that this was something that we could totally do. And so if you're in this situation now where you're either contemplating or you're really leaning toward like, no, we're going to have a free birth, I just want to encourage you. And I want to tell you, like, you got this. Like, you can totally do it. Even if you wanted to have a midwife there, that's fine. Like I said, it's more like, I see it, and this is not downplaying anybody. You have whoever you want at your birth. That's your birth. No one can take that away from you. No one can diminish it. No one can make it smaller. That is your birth. You have whoever you want there. If you didn't want to go that route, you didn't want anybody there, you just wanted you and your husband, like, you can totally do it. And it's so beautiful. You have so many resources available to you where it's like you're not going into this blind, because there's so much that you could learn, and you could spend the whole 9 months preparing yourself for this beautiful day where you and your husband birth your baby. Let's get into the birth story. Oh my gosh. Okay. So on June 18th, 2021, this was the day before my son was born. I was just feeling adventurous. And I ventured out with my babies. I was like, let's go to the park. There's this park that's like maybe like 5 blocks from our house, couple blocks down. The kids loved it. And so literally the moment I stepped foot out the door, I regretted it. That same exact moment. It was the hottest day ever in Florida. Like, it was extremely hot. It was like that extremely muggy, like, oh my God, like I stepped into it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. Like, it was so hot. I think it was like 98 degrees that day. So we literally were walking, right? As soon as we stepped out, the kids were like, oh my gosh, it's hot. Flushed, cheeks red, sweating from the forehead. And then we're like 2 blocks in, and they were just like, we're just like all begging to like go back home. So anyway, I'm like, we're almost there. Let's just let's just brave it, and let's just get there. We'll play a little bit, and then we'll just go back home. And so we literally got to the park, and we lasted like 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes. It was so hot. The kids were just like, this is not fun. It's too hot. There's no shade. It was brutal. So anyway, we went back home, and I think like the last block we were literally running because we were so thirsty. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Anyway, the moment we stepped in the door, I ran right to the kitchen. I grabbed my blender, and I grabbed my dates, my pineapple, and I made a pineapple date smoothie, and we devoured it. It was so delicious. It was so good. And for those of you who might not be aware, dates and pineapples are like the powerhouse of cervix softening, however you say that word. And so it was just like a really good combo. I call it my labor smoothie. And then I was just bouncing on the birth ball, and I remember I'm just there bouncing, and I'm sipping my smoothie, and I was playing catch with my son. Like, he was on the opposite side of the bed, and we're just playing catch and stuff. And then that was pretty much it for that day. It was probably like, I don't know, around that time it was probably like 1 p.m. And then whatever, we went throughout our day. It was bedtime, went to sleep. Bam, 3 a.m. comes. June 19th, 3 a.m. I woke up with extreme back pain. And it's so crazy because my 2 previous births, same thing, 3 a.m., literally the same exact time. 3 a.m., like clockwork, bam, I'm awoken because of the pain that I'm feeling in my back. So I woke up and I'm just like, I was like, dang, this hurts. But I was so happy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Labor Day. I was so excited. I'm telling you, I always say this, Labor Day is my favorite day. Like, it's let's go. I am meeting the love of my life, today. Let's go. I'm so excited. So I woke up in pain. I was like, oh my God, I'm back. Oh my God, it's Labor Day. I was so excited. So my husband was sleeping, kids upstairs, knocked out. I got in the shower, and I was just rocking back and forth. And then I filled up the tub, and I was just laying in there for a while. And I think I was probably in there maybe for an hour. You know, the water tank, the hot water just like runs out, and you're like, okay, I got to get, like, you're forced to get out. So I was at that point, I was forced to get out. And then I got dressed, I laid in bed, and I didn't really fall asleep because I can't fall asleep during contractions. Like, I've seen it. I've seen people, I've attended like maybe 5 births. Yeah. And I've literally seen hundreds of them online. And I see moms sleeping during the contractions. How do you do that? Please teach me your ways. How do you do that? I can't. I can't. I've never been able to. I can't sleep when I'm having contractions. Like, how do you do that? So I didn't really sleep much. I was just laying there. I was like side lying. I had pillows propped between my legs, and I was just, it was early labor. So they were intense, but not like where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. It was intense, and I was just laying there, still trying to just relax, I guess, or trying to, it wasn't sleep, but I was just there relaxing and conserving my energy, all those things. So 7 o'clock hits. I hear that my baby's beautiful little feet's upstairs just running. I turn to my husband and I'm like, baby, wake up. It's Labor Day. And he's like, oh my gosh, really? I was like, yeah, I've been contracting all night. It's been 4 hours so far, consistent, every 1 to 2 minutes, 1 to 3 minutes, I mean. And like, yeah, today's the day. So the kids came down, they all hopped in the bed, And daddy's like, guess what? Mommy's gonna have the baby today. And you hear all the squeals and all the screams, and we're all super excited. For that 9-hour span from like 7 to like 3 p.m., it was just basically all very the same thing. Like I was just contracting. My contractions were literally 1 to 3 minutes apart. And it's so crazy because they're so consistent and they're so intense. One would think like, man, this baby's she's about to have the baby. But no, I just have long labors. So anyway, from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., I was just contracting. I was in and out of the shower, in and out of the tub. I was bouncing on my birth ball. I was rocking on all fours and just doing all the things that I can to make sure that labor keeps progressing and I'm not stalling anything and that contractions aren't slowing down. So I remember 4 p.m. hitting. And I remember at 4 p.m., I remember looking at my phone and things just like intensified. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. It wasn't transition yet, but it was like late in the active labor where it's just like, okay, like things are like really picking up now. Things are really happening. And I wasn't finding comfort in any position. Like I was doing all of it. I was hanging from the ceiling. Like I was doing everything. And I was not finding any relief. At this point, I started taking Kali Carbonicum, which is a homeopathic that helps with like back pains, because at this point I literally felt like my back was just like it was excruciating. And I was just like, ooh, where's my Kali? Nathan, I need my Kali. So I was experiencing that for a good 2 hours. And then I remember 6 p.m. hitting. And at this point I was like at the brink of entering transition, and I couldn't handle like the like noise or like anything anymore. So I was like, babe, put the kids to sleep. And I haven't shared this yet, but throughout the whole process, my kids were just there. Like it was just me and my husband and our 3 beautiful kids at the time. And they were just there. They were just like all in it. They were rubbing me and hugging me. They'll go run and play. You hear them fighting. And then my husband is going back and forth between myself and the children, because he had to feed them and make sure they were okay, put a movie on for them, come back to me, and all this stuff. And it was just so beautiful. Like there was some chaotic moments where it was just like they're being home and they're playing and they're yelling and they're screaming and toys and running back and forth and mom and all this stuff. It was so beautiful and it was so natural, where I was just like, I felt so safe. Like I felt such a peace in that, where I'm just like, I remember moments I'm in the tub and I'm just hearing the kids yelling and screaming and playing, and I'm just like, I would just like have a little smile on my face, 'cause I'm like, this is so beautiful. Like this is as natural as it comes. I'm like, I love this. I love that my babies are here. I love that they're experiencing this with us, you know? And just like little funny moments. Like I remember throwing up at one point, and then you just, my kids are just there and they're just like, oh, mommy's throwing up. And I'm just like looking at them like, but like I said, it was just perfect. It was so perfect to me. So anyway, 6 p.m. hits, and I reached my threshold of like what I can handle at this point. So I was like, babe, I was like, take the kids up, brush your teeth, get them ready for bed, do the stories, do the prayers, do the snuggles, do all the things. I'll be down here. I'm okay, but I need silence now. And so my husband went upstairs to get the babies ready, and I was in the tub, and I was going through it. I was laboring. I've learned that you literally have to surrender to the contraction. Like you can't fight it. You can't like stiffen up and like think you're stronger than it. Like you just embrace it. It's a part of you at the moment. You just embrace it. You ride it, it's gonna get to the highest point, and then it's gonna come down, and you're gonna get your few seconds of relief before it comes up again, you know? Okay, so I got out of the tub. I went to the bed. My husband came down. At this point, I missed my babies. Like, the house was silent, and I was just like, I felt like I missed them so much. I was like, oh, I kind of wish they were like right here sleeping next to me, you know? And I remember as I was lying in the bed, like, it was just like it was just getting more and more intense. So at this point in my head, I knew that I was in transition. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in transition. Like, it's gonna happen any moment now. Like, I'm gonna meet my baby. And my husband, he's amazing. I love him so much. He's the freaking best. Will you marry me? He's the best. He already knows. He knows me. He knows what I was in. He told me, he's like, baby, you're in transition. Because I was like, all these sounds were coming out of me. I was grunting and breathing like I was bearing the, like I was in full on in transition. So I remember I was laying in the bed and I'm kind of side lying, and my husband's like spooning me. Why am I like this? He's spooning me. So he's like, I'm side lying and he's spooning me. He's behind me and he's just rubbing me and he's talking in my ear and he's just, you know, saying all the encouraging things and just light touches, giving me all the oxytocin and stuff that I need. And I remember having two extremely, like, they were intense, like, where I was just like, it was intense. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get up. He helps me up. I go to the side of my bed. I go to the side of my bed. And so basically I'm like on all fours and I'm just like rocking right there. That was like what was working for me at the moment. That's what my body like innately and instinctually like wanted to do. And so I was in that position and I was just rocking. And then after that, I was on both of my knees. And then I had my elbows like resting on my bed. So at this point, it's go time. Like, my body naturally started bearing down. My body naturally started like pushing and like grunting. And if you've had a birth before, there's this pressure, like this crazy amount of pressure that happens in your butt, where you just feel like, oh my gosh, like, I'm about to blow. Like, it's just like pressure. It's extreme amount of pressure. I don't even feel it ever like in the front until obviously like I'm pushing, but even barely. I always feel it like in my butt, where I'm like, oh my gosh, is baby coming out of my butt or is it coming out of my vagina? That pressure in my butt was just like at an all-time high. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think the baby's coming. So my husband, he started to see the mucus plug. The mucus plug started coming out. And it's so funny and so cute. Like, my husband, no one can make me laugh like my husband does. I think he's so funny. And I'm just like, even in like like, I could be so sad, like even in my grief, in any moment, things, I could find anything funny, you know? And so he's just narrating what he's seeing. He's narrating the whole process to me. And I'm just there pushing and feeling my contractions and in pain. And I'm just like smirking through it too. Cause I'm like, man, this guy, like, I could just probably literally just laugh this baby out right now because of how funny he is right now. So yeah, so the mucus plug was coming out and he's like, all right, I see the mucus plug. He knows what he was talking about. I made him read all the books and he was completely as versed as I was. And he knew what he was doing. I was so proud of him. Like, he's so amazing. I'll never forget that day. And I can't wait to experience it again. He's like, there's a little bit of poop coming out of your butt. I'm wiping it now. Yeah, he's so funny. I'm like, why is he telling me this? Like, I love it. It's so funny. He's so cute. Oh my gosh. So then the head, he's like, Amanda, the head is out. Oh my gosh. He's like, you got this. Keep pushing. The head came out. And then I pushed again and the whole body came out. Our beautiful honor Braveheart Cruz was born on June 19th, 8:55 p.m. right into my husband's hands, right into daddy's loving arms. It was so beautiful. It was so special. It was such a sacred moment that I will never forget. And instantly, like, my husband, I just like kind of flipped over, and my husband handed Honor to me, and then I sat like on the corner, like on the edge of my bed, and I'm like, go get the kids. And my husband ran upstairs. He woke up the kids, and everybody came down all yawning, but they were so excited. It was like Christmas because they had been waiting so long to meet their little brother. Like 9 months for them was a long time. We're like, when's the baby coming? Like, when are you having the baby? Like, you have to think 9 months to a child is probably like an eternity. And so they were so excited, and we were just all there. I was just lying down. I felt amazing. I finally felt relief. I was just laying there, and I was just like, oh my God, this feels so great. No more contractions. Thank you, Jesus. And the kids were just looking at him, and they were just so tired. So I was like, all right, baby, you can take them back upstairs. So then my husband took them back upstairs, and I was just with Honor. We were waiting for the umbilical cord to stop pulsating before we cut it. And at this point, I don't know how much time went by. Maybe 45 minutes. Maybe 45 minutes went by. And we cut the cord. Honor got all the blood. He got everything he needed. And then I noticed, like, hey, my placenta still hasn't came out, honey. And so I'm like, okay, I never experienced that. I always remembered like my placenta coming out like 5 minutes, 10 minutes right after I had the baby, never this long. So I was like, what do we do? You know, like, do I gotta stand up? And the crazy thing is, we prepared for every situation. Like, when it comes to something that can go wrong, we prepared for everything. This we were not prepared for. We had no idea that this was even a thing. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about retained placenta. My placenta was stuck. My placenta was not coming out. And it took an additional 21 hours for me to actually birth my placenta. Oh my goodness. And that is another story for another video. So you're going to want to make sure that you watch my retained placenta video for basically the second part of my birth story, because my placenta has its own story. My placenta had its own birth. It was actually way longer than the actual birth of my son. But I want to do a separate video because it's just so much information. It's a variation of normal that's not talked about. Like, you will not find information online about it, like, nowhere. Like, it's scarce. Like, it's like it doesn't even exist. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my first free birth experience. Like I said, it was so beautiful and it was so special. And the ending of it, we had absolutely no idea that this would happen, or that this was even something that could happen. So make sure you watch the next video to find out what happened with my retained placenta. Until next time, I'll talk to you later, gatekeepers.